Hi there. So today I thought I'd do something a little different. Instead of your traditional knitting podcast, fiber podcast, like I typically do, I thought I'd do this may turn into a mini-sode type thing, but what I thought I would do is a sort of pattern roundup. Um, right now I'm planning to go to Yarncentrick and Maryland Sheep and Wool. It is 2 weeks from today as I'm recording this. And as I'm preparing to go, I wanted to come in with like a little bit of a plan. So there's some patterns I've been excited about. Most of them are tees and tanks and summer things. So it's a bit of a summer tees and tanks pattern roundup. There's one that is not. But these are things that I will be looking for while I'm shopping for potentially and walking around to potentially purchase for these patterns. So it's kind of a rundown of my shopping list, kind of what I'm thinking to prepare for it, and also just some patterns I'm really excited about right now. So I hope that sounds like something you'd like to hear about, and I will be showing the pictures of what the patterns are and giving you some details about those on the screen as I talk through what it is I'm looking for and kind of what colors I might be looking for specifically. I have a certain thoughts in my mind. So I'm just going to walk through the whole process with you, and hopefully you'll find something in there that maybe inspires you, but grab something cozy to work on, to drink, whatever makes you feel good today, and let's get going. What I've done is I've gone through and just some patterns I keep going back to, things I'm excited about. These are not necessarily new patterns, just things I've been seeing and I've been excited about to potentially make. I've made a list of those patterns, how much yarn and what type of yarn I would need for each of the patterns. And I have written them down. I have a notebook here in front of me that I wrote them down in, as well as I have made a Ravelry bundle. I will link the bundle down below in the description. So if you want to check them out or you see something that you're excited about, I will have that down there. I will also put up on the screen a picture of the pattern so you can see what it is I'm thinking about and some details about that pattern. So you, again, if you're excited about it too, you have a little information to go check it out. Now, what I'm also going to talk about is kind of maybe some of the colors or ideas or what if I have something like that I might be like looking to make it for a specific reason. And yeah, because ultimately what I want to do here is I'm going to a fiber festival, right? These are patterns I'm excited about. What I don't want to do is get there and see something that I'm really excited about and then buy it and then come home and I don't have enough to make something with it. I don't have the right quantities or I have too much. I just want to make sure that I have a little forethought into what I might potentially want to purchase and have an idea for how I would use that yarn if I do that. I do not by any means plan to purchase everything on this list, and I may not purchase anything for patterns on this list. It just depends on what I see there. But if I do see something I like, hopefully this gives me a little bit of a jumping off point to make sure that I don't just buy something that I can't figure out what to do with it later. Do you know what I mean? So that's the plan. That's what I'm going for here. And with that being said, I'll also talk about a few of the other little things I might pick up or look at while I'm there. And um, I don't know if this is what you do when you go to a fiber festival. I'd be interested to know, but that is what I'm planning right now. So let's get into it. I'm going to be looking at my phone a little bit because I do have the bundle here to look at and kind of walk through with you. So, first up, the manual tee. I've been eyeing this for like 2 years, and I really like the back panel has this kind of lace look to it, just right down the middle. It's raglan, it's short sleeved, it has a V-neck in the front, and um, I've just I've just thought it was a nice pattern for quite a while now. It is extra small through 4XL and it calls for DK weight yarn. Um, so my thought here is this for a lot of these, I kind of want summer yarns for twofold reason. One, as if you followed me for a little bit here, may know. If you don't, I do dye my own yarn when for specific projects. Sometimes when I feel like it, sometimes I purchase, sometimes I don't. Um, Summer yarns are something that I haven't really gotten into dyeing. So that does tend to be, and it's getting warmer. So I'm excited about these patterns. So I do tend to look more for those types of yarns when I go places because it's not something I'm probably going to make myself anyway. Again, not to say I never buy other stuff, but that's just typically how it goes. So my thought is looking for some sort of maybe cotton wool blend or linen silk or something like that that would be a good fit for this sweater. And I have, let me look at my note here. So I need 600 meters. Most of these are going to be in yardage, but this one just happened to be meters and I didn't look up what that conversion is. So 600 meters of yarn. And yeah, so I think this will be a nice one to just kind of pair with whatever. I always am drawn to patterns where there's just a little bit of something extra, like a little lace panel, or like obviously I like the Juno tee a lot, little lace sleeves, but the rest is plain and it just looks like a normal t-shirt. I love stuff like that. And that's what this reminds me of. It's very simple on the front. It just looks like your normal typical V-neck tee. It doesn't even have like, I'm not sure if it's, I think it's I-cord bind offs. So it has a more simple edging and everything. But then you've got this little lace, like kind of stripe down the middle of the back. And I think that's so cool. So I'm drawn to that. Any color will do. But that is the first one that I am looking at. And oh, and there's 8 total things that I'm looking for, specific patterns for. So that is number 1. Number 2 is the summer wood tee. This is again, it's a lace tee. It's pretty straightforward, short sleeves, lace raglan. The sleeves don't have the lace on it, just the middle and I think the back. Yes, and the back parts do have this lace. It's a pretty simple lace pattern. One of the things I like about this specifically is, although I haven't figured out my sock situation yet and my best fit, I love the idea of making, and I feel like there's a lot of patterns out there that would be very similar lace patterns to this because it's fairly simple. Making cute little matching socks with a little picot edge or something, I think would be so cute. And I love the idea of making matching socks for all my sweaters, and someday I want to do that. But so I think this would be cute, nice, simple little top. I could wear it to work, I could wear it with jeans, I could wear it to dinner, and either however I did it, like I think this is another one with the Emmanuel tee. Like I could wear it in a lot of scenarios. So I like that about it. This particular top is a fingering weight top. It comes in sizes 1 through 10 with this one actually has in the bits here, a finished bust circumference of 33 inches to 61.5 inches. This tee is by Liv Ulven. I forgot to put the designer's name on the Emmanuel tee. I'm sure I put that on screen though. So for this one, I mean, being that it's lace and it's fingering weight, I think really any fiber could work here. So just whatever I find that I think would be a nice fiber and is a pretty color or whatever I think will look good. Being that there is all over lace for most of the sweater, I'm thinking probably a solid color is the way to go. This is probably one of those that I'm least likely to actually purchase for because I could dye yarn for this really pretty simply if I wanted to, since again I am going for more of a solid color here, but I could go either way on it. So but it is something that it is a pattern this is another one I've been looking at for a couple years. So if I saw something for it, I would definitely want to pick that up. So that is number 2. Okay, I'm kind of saving the like more involved. Oh, and for that summerwood tee, any colors would work fine for me. So I'm kind of waiting for the more involved logic in my head for some of these other patterns. So next up, let's talk about the lily top. I think this is so cute. I've seen a lot of these patterns where there's like the ties up the front, and that's not my style. I'm just not really drawn to that. But this one with the tie, like wearing it with the ties on the back, this looks so cute to me. So this is the Lily top by Moki Knits. It is an Aran weight yarn, and it is extra small through 4XL. And it's because it's sleeveless. I don't need, I need 700, no, sorry. I need 378 yards for this one. So that is not a lot of yarn. Um, so I think that is helpful. It has, I've also, on my notes, I've also written down, or on my Ravelry thing, I've written down, or did I do it on the one or not the other? I'm sorry, I can't remember. But I have the gauge written down in case I find maybe like a worsted weight yarn that I could probably get a similar gauge with. So I want to make sure to keep that in mind because again, Aran weight is kind of a lot. So anyway, sorry, that is what I would like to use for this. So that being said, I think this could be so cute with skirt, with some cutoff jean shorts, or I think there's so many cute ways I could wear this. Obviously, this is not something I'm going to be wearing in the office at work, but I think this is just the cutest summer top. And I feel like it probably wouldn't take that much to, like, that long to make. This could be a fairly quick knit, which could also be kind of fun. So I am thinking with this one, so I have some ideas for this one. So what I'm thinking is I would definitely want a summer yarn. And I do love the Equinox Sport that Magpie Fiber has. I've used that. I'm currently using it for a project. I've used it for a project before. Well, they also have that in a worsted weight yarn. So I'm wondering if I could use that for this. Magpie Fibers is in Frederick, Maryland, where Yarncentrick is. So I'll actually be able to go to the store and look at this and look at the colors and things. So that is kind of what is in my mind's eye of what I would do for this is I would actually pop in there and look at getting that worsted weight yarn for this project. Maybe I'll see something from a different vendor or something like that, but that is kind of my current thought process is to get this. So that's the Lily Top by Moki Knits. Then we've got the Colette Top by Sari Nordland. And this is a tank version. She has bunches of different versions. I'm particularly drawn to the tank version. I think that is really, really cute. And I would like to make this. This is a worsted weight gauge. Now, I just talked about Equinox Sport, or the Equinox Sport and the Equinox Worsted from Magpie Fibers. They I have looked at this pattern for using that worsted weight yarn and the sport weight yarn. Honestly, I've looked at both. The worsted weight yarn for that Magpie Fibers has in Equinox does not work with this gauge. This has a pretty, it's a 22 stitch by 28 row gauge, but it's worsted weight. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work. The yarn suggested for it is Line by Sandus Garn. So I don't know if I haven't looked honestly close enough to see if they're like holding that double. I would assume. I think that's a fingering weight. Well, let me just look. No, that's a worsted weight yarn. So that's what was used for the pattern. So I definitely, of course, would like something summer, some sort of summer-ish yarn for this. And so that's something I'll be keeping an eye out for. This is another pattern that I've been looking at for I've been looking at this for about a year now. So if I happen to see something for this, that's definitely another pattern I would like to make. Again, I feel like it's something I could wear in a lot of scenarios. Also probably not to work, but I think it could look really cute under like a button-up shirt. If I like leave the button-up shirt open or something. I am not one to wear like a dress jacket, like sport jacket type thing. That's not my style. Um, so, but I still think that there's ways that I could wear this where I would cover up my arms because I have so many tattoos on my arms. Again, I tend to not wear sleeveless things at work. um, but so, and usually I'm in a building that's air conditioned. So it's also just it would be too cold to wear a tank top. So that is, but so anyway, I think that this is a really cute top. I really like the lace and a little bit of cable on this, and I think this could be really, really fun. So that is the Colette top by Sari Nordland. So keeping an eye out for something for that one. Okay, next up, let's talk about the underlace top. This is by Lily Kate France. And this, I I saw this. I think this is a really cute pattern. It's a tank top, and then it's got just a little bit of lace on the sleeve edge and the collar edge. And the thing with this top is I think it's super, super cute. And again, it's like you can kind of dress it up, dress it down. You could wear it with skirts, would look so cute. So in my mind's eye, this is what I envision. So this is one where I have I have more specific colors that I want. So far, everything else I've talked about, just a color that grabs my eye and I think is pretty, I would go with. This top though, I have a little bit more of a specific idea in mind. So I have a pair of black, um, like dress shorts, like, like the dress pants type dress shorts, but they're shorts. So I have a pair of those that are black that have like the tailor and the pleats and stuff. And I think this top would be so cute tucked into those shorts with some cute little black sandals. And so my thought with this top is I would do, so there's two versions. There's a solid color version and there's a striped version. So I would be making the striped version where I would do black would be the main color. So the lace would be black, the sleeve lace would be black, and then I would do a black stripe, and then I would do either one or two colors for the like contrasting color stripe. And I'm thinking either like a lilac purple or a pale pink, or maybe even a hot pink, maybe a teal, something like that. Almost a little bit of a like uh kind of those punk, I don't know, kind of gothy, punky, I don't know, colors. That's what it like evokes in my mind, at least, is kind of that 80s, 90s kind of thing, but it'll be elevated with my dressy shorts. And the like the little bit of lace. So I think that'd be really cute and fun. So that is what I keep envisioning in my mind for this. No, I would need 333 yards of the main color and then 280 yards of the contrast color. So I feel like one skein of each color, if I just did the two colors, would be fine. And again, being fingering weight, I think I could get away with this being a wool yarn or like a merino yarn or something like that, and it would be nice. If it happened to be something else like a silk or a linen or something, I think that would be good too, but that I feel like I could go either way on this one. So I think that would be really cute. And that is again the underlace top by Lily Kate France. So let's move on to my other Lily Kate France. Oh, also I already have the underlace top pattern. She recently had like a summer patterns sale, and I purchased that pattern during that sale. So uh, the other Lily Kate France pattern that I am excited for. Now, small backstory. I've been watching the One Piece live action show series on Netflix, and the one character in season 2, she has a top on. It's like this seafoam colored top. Love the color. I've been really thinking about getting something that color. I really want something in that color. I don't have anything. And it has a little, like the little keyhole button thing on the back. It's got wide ribbing all down the front. It's got a little like little sleeve with just a tiny bit of puff to the sleeve right here, and it is knit and it's fit with like kind of this neckline, like a crew neck neckline, and just like a little bit of ribbing here. I I couldn't stop. I stopped paying attention to the show because I couldn't stop looking at the sweater and trying to figure out how I could make it. So I've looked at a lot of patterns to try to figure out how I can make this sweater because I just think it's so cute. And I couldn't find anything that matched. If you have seen something or you know something, please let me know. But um, otherwise, this is the closest thing I found that I would obviously have to modify to make work with that. And this is the Nitty Committee top. So it comes with a long sleeve option, it comes with a slightly poofed sleeve option, and of course a short sleeve, poof sleeve, and then a short sleeve. It is a more fitted tee, which is what it looked like in the show. And it is, of course, not ribbed or anything like that. But I think it's, I'm not sure what type of, I'm not good at knowing what types of sleeves these are. I think maybe they're set in sleeves or something. But they're just kind of like stitched on and picked up right here is what it looks like. It's definitely not a raglan or a saddle or anything. So I think that is what the pattern looked like on the show. So I think that I think this is pretty similar, that at a minimum, the keyhole part in the back could be a little tricky. I do think that's a really cute detail and I would like to have that on this, but not knowing exactly how this is constructed, I'm not really sure with like short rows or something like that, how that would work. I've kind of looked at some other patterns that did have the keyhole in the back, but they were just not very similar to this exact kind of structure. Obviously, I think the actual like ribbing part, being that it's so wide and so on, will be simple to just add in. So worst case, I would do this, probably the poof sleeve one without, with the rib and then without the keyhole in the back. But obviously the keyhole would be really cute. I hope keyhole makes sense. You know, the little like with the one button and the little right here at the collar. So that is what I'm thinking for this. Oh, I'm not sure if I said it's fingering weight. It is bust size is 28 to 62 inches. And yeah, that is Lily Kate France Nitty Committee top. So I'll be keeping an eye out for some yarn for that, potentially fingering weight again. So I feel like I could get away with a few different options for yarn choice. I actually have some I could dye up if I needed to for this too, if I don't find it, but something to, I'm excited about. So, okay, I've got two more patterns here. So next up, and this one is, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm really into the idea of the matching sets, the tops and the bottoms. Did a video on that before. If you want to check that out, I'll link that. But it was one of the first videos I did. So I am. So this kind of on some level falls into this vein. So this is the Cloud Break Tee by Wool and Pine, and it's got like a little bit of a shorter sleeve here. Again, I don't, it looks like maybe a saddle shoulder is my guess, because it does look like it comes like this and then like there's a seam that goes like this and then down. This is DK weight yarn. It has a bust measurement of 32 inches to 72 inches. And so my thought with this is I would make the top and then I would make a skirt. My thought is like a knee length or just above the knee, pencil shaping type skirt, not super tight, but like a straight skirt. And what I would do is, so on the lace part that's right here, I would mimic that at the bottom of the skirt and then do it in like one full color. So, or matching colors. So it'd be the same yarn top and bottom. So I've figured out what I would need to make the top. And then obviously I would want to buy the top and skirt yarn at the same time, so it all went together and matched. So I did look up a couple DK weight straight skirt patterns to get a feel for how much yarn I would need for that. So what I'm thinking for this is this, let's see, how big tea. Okay, so I think what I've decided is I would need 640 yards Oh, I haven't decided exactly what size I would need for this one. So this is, I wrote down both. So if I make the small, I would need 640 yards. If I made the medium, I would need 720 yards. This is another one of those where I kind of fall a little bit in between the two sizes. So I'm not exactly sure how much, um, I don't know how much of an ease I want, positive ease I want on this one. So I could go either way. I'm leaning towards the small, but it could be one of those things where it's not going to matter because how much yardage is in the skeins, I'm going to wind up with the amount I need for a medium anyway, and then I could just decide later. Anyway, for the skirt, I think I'm going to need 1,095 yards to make that. So that is what I'm thinking for these. So if I see some, and again, being DK weight and being short sleeve and a skirt, I think this is another one that could benefit from some sort of um, mix of like a wool fiber or some sort of protein fiber and some sort of plant-based fiber or silk, maybe something to make it a little bit cooler for the warm weather. But it is going to have a lot of lace and so on. So, but it is DK weight. So, I don't know. Anyway, so that is my thoughts on this. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that. I think that could be really fun. I also think, for the record, if I find yarn for a lot of these things, let's get clear the air. If I find yarn for a lot of these things, there's a pretty good chance I'm not making it this year. I'll be making it next year for pretty much any of these things because I have enough yarn sitting here for patterns or whips that I need to get through that I don't see fitting anything else new in at this point. But I do kind of like having my projects like I can just pick them up and go as soon as I'm ready to start something new. So I would potentially have this. So that is my thought for the Cloud Break Tee by Wool and Pine. Okay, last one, and this is my only not warm weather summer knit tea tank type situation. This is a long sleeve, and this is the Autumn Alpine. So this is a pattern, of course, I've looked at for a long time. I have made the Alpine Bloom tee, and I actually like the Autumn Alpine better when it came out than the Alpine Bloom. But I wound up making the Alpine Bloom because I just happened to wind up with yarn that it made sense, and I turned out I loved it. I actually I had I thought I had some fiber before that I was going to be able to make this, but it turned out my gauge and my quantities weren't quite right, so I did not wind up making this. So I do already have the pattern for the Autumn Alpine, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. Okay, so that being said, there is a very specific version of this that somebody made that I am in love with. Like, it got me excited about this pattern again, that I really want to make this. So I will show this specific person. Moon Pearl Knits is the name of this knitter that have made this, and I love it. So I want to keep an eye out. I want to keep an eye out for something similar colorways. And when I am at the festival. So I have written down what yarn I would need for this. One thing you'll notice is there's like the color changing yarn through the color work portion, and then there's a fuzzy yarn through the like actual flower part of the color work. And I think that is just such a nice little touch. And then of course, I actually just genuinely really like the like dark um, color that she uses for the main color. If we haven't, if you haven't seen much of my stuff or whatever, I am very into the very saturated tones, jewel tones, very saturated colors. I really, really like. So this dark purple main color, in purple's also my favorite color, just stunning. I love it. And how it pairs with the other colors is just amazing. So um, now, am I 100% sold on specifically getting the purple? No. Would I love that? Yes. So if I see something like that, I would definitely get it. I would also be really into a really, really dark teal color. I think that would be a really nice option as well. So I would be looking for those. This sweater is made in sport weight yarn, and I would need, let me see where I wrote it down. I would need, yeah, see, it's a lot more yarn than you'd think. That's part of the reason I couldn't make this before. 1,380 yards of the main color, and then 290 yards. And this is partially based on this person that made this. And the person that Moon Pearl Knits that made this a size 2, which is the size I would make. So 290 yards of the contrasting color, and then they use 50 grams of the fuzzy yarn for the flower portion. So I think that would be easy just to get a 50-gram skein of some sort of like mohair or suri or whatever. Or even I have some undyed. I could just use that. So that I think would also be a nice option. So that is the Autumn Alpine by Caitlin Hunter. Okay, so that is the patterns that I'm looking for. Those are my thoughts when I'm thinking about what kinds of yarns I would want, what kinds of fibers I'd be looking for, what kind of colors. Like I said, for some of them, I have more specific colors. A few additional things that I will be keeping an eye out for. I'm always down for a project bag. And Black Pearl Magic will be at Yarncentrick. I want to check out some of their bags. And and then, any other vendor that's there, if they have a cute bag or something like that, I will definitely be taking a look at those. And so that's kind of an extra. If there's just some general cute stitch markers or notions or something like that, I'll definitely keep an eye out for those too. I feel like that's always just like a fun little thing. I've also liked this. I must have a thing with matching. I don't really know why. It's never really been that big of a deal to me. But my mom used to get so mad at me when I was younger because I would just wear things that completely did not match. And when I say younger, I mean like in high school. I would wear like a brown plaid skirt with like a bright blue and orange flowered button-up shirt. I don't know. I was just down with it. But my mom was not. Might have been why I did it. But anyway, but as I've gotten older, apparently I'm into matching. So as I love to have I want matching socks for all my sweaters. I would also have gotten into the idea of having matching notions for my project bags. So I have a project bag that is like football themed. It's got like the football field lines, and then it's got like the referee like black and white stripes bag, and I have little football needle stoppers for it that I think are adorable. And I really want to get a little football. Charmed and Dangerous has a cute little football with a little face progress keeper that I really want to get. So I have like a whole little football theme thing. I just bought some fabric to potentially make like a Cleveland Guardians baseball project bag. I'm going to attempt to sew that. I want all the matching baseball stuff because also most of my knitting, crocheting, whatever I'm doing happens while I'm watching sports. So specifically the Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And recently I got into the Columbus Blue Jackets, so hockey is in there now too. So I need my specific sport bag for that sport, and I think that would just be so fun to have my like baseball project and my football watching project. But anyway, so that being said, so when I'm looking for notions and stuff like that, if I see any little needle stoppers or anything that might go with those, that'd be really cute. I have a cardinal project bag with cardinals on it, and I recently got a cardinal project progress marker that I'm going to use with that bag. So I don't know why I'm just into that right now. So if I see anything that kind of goes with my little themed bags and whatnot, I want to check that out. The other thing is buttons. I find that I struggle locally to find buttons for projects, and I do like a good fun button. And finding buttons online isn't always easy either. So I think it's Holland Farms, I think is what you call them, will be there, and they've got a lot of kind of unique buttons and stuff. They have a bit of a folk art look, which I do love that look. I don't know that that will necessarily go with some of the projects I have in mind, but I might pick up some of those buttons just so I have them for future projects. I also have, so I recently dyed yarn that was this color with a dark pink to make the My Fair Lady sweater by Claudia Quintanilla that just came out. And on that, there's a little button on the cuff, on each cuff. So I would like to find some dark pink, like kind of dressy, fancy little buttons to go on my cuffs of that sweater. So I'll be keeping an eye out for those for sure. Then the other thing is socks. So if you've been watching, you know that I have been on a perfect sock journey situation. So I've been working more on socks lately. I'm in the middle of a vanilla sock, the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee, trying out the heel flap and gusset to see if that's a better fit for me. So far it is. Good news. But and before that, I made the Shadow Wrap No Fear socks by Denise DeSantis. And I do like those. I like the way they look, but they don't, I have a high arch and it doesn't seem to work with my foot shape very well, that heel type. So that being said, as I continue down this journey, I'm getting a little, I kind of want to branch out a little bit and not have so many just vanilla socks. So I've found a few patterns, some summerly patterns. There's a lot of different patterns out there, but I found some patterns where there's like a little bit of cabling down the side or a little bit of lace around the cuff, things like that, or a little bit of color work around the cuff, but not all over. So I feel like I can still work with those socks to figure out what my fit is, but make it slightly more interesting for me to knit. But that being said, I don't really have a lot of solid color yarn that would really show those cables or the lace or would work well as, you know, the main color for color work. So I'm going to keep an eye out for just solid colors sock yarn that grabs me. If I just happen to see, that's my kind of like, if I happen to see some, just a really pretty color of sock yarn, I'm just going to grab it. Excuse me. So I want to do that. And then with that, I'll also keep an eye out for little sock mini sets. So that again, if I want to do some color work ones, I could do that as well. So that is the other kind of like walking by, I might randomly pick up without a super specific pattern in mind, but of course, a skein of sock yarn will make a pair of socks for me. Probably, unless I make a really long leg, 2 pair of socks for me. So that is the other thing I'll be shopping for. So yeah, that is kind of my shopping list, what I'm looking at, what I'm keeping an eye out for. Next week is also LYS Day. For shopping at your local yarn store. And so I may pop in. We actually have a yarn store that opened near me that opened in the last year, and I have not been there yet. So I might pop over there just to show a little support and check that out. That is Silver Linings Yarn Store in Cuyahoga Falls. So I might check that out. And again, I'd probably just grab like a sock yarn or something, just again to show them a little support. But that is so that I may have one little item before I go to the fiber festival, but we'll see how that goes. So that is, yeah, that's my shopping list. Those are the patterns I'm really excited about right now for summer to make. I do still have full plans of making the seashore skirt by Veronica Lindbergh, but I already have that yarn. I am in the process of making my Juno tee by Sari Nordlund into a dress, but again, I already have that yarn and I am like halfway through that project. I just finished making the seashore blouse by Veronica Lindbergh. I will talk more about that finished object on my podcast, but I did do a short just so you can see how it turned out, on how it looks. And I'm trying to think if there's any other current summary things I'm working on. I don't think that I do have any. So that's where I'm at on those. So I do already have some stuff on the needles that I am working on for the summer. And those patterns, of course, I'm already excited about. I already have stuff for, and I've been planning basically since the beginning of the year. So, but these are some additional ones that I'm excited about and I think will be really fun makes. If you have any patterns that you're really excited about right now for summer or spring, I would love to hear about those and see what inspiration you're looking at to inspire myself or others. And I would also love to hear if you're going to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I will hopefully see you there. If not, and you're going to other fiber festivals and things, I would love to know what you're planning and what maybe you're looking for, how you plan to shop. Be really, I think that's always interesting to see how people approach going to these kinds of things. So I hope this was fun. I hope you saw some things you might like, and I hope I had a good time. It was nice hanging out with you. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please like, subscribe if you feel so inclined. That would be wonderful. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Oh, one last thing. One last thing. You may or may not have noticed that the background behind me has changed. Last weekend, I painted and decorated this area, so hopefully it is a little more appealing as a background and you like that. Let me know what you think, and yeah, I can't wait to see you next time. Next podcast will probably be a normal podcast, but it will be after I get back from Maryland Sheep and Wool and Yarncentrick. So I will show you what I actually wound up getting and how much of it was on my list. And then I will and give you a little bit of an update on how that's going, how my other projects are going. So like I said, that'll probably be early May once I get back. And then I will try to also post some shorts and things like that while I am there to show you what's going on, as well as I will post on my social media, TikTok and Instagram. You can find me Facebook at Wonky Moon Crafts. Okay, I think I did all the things and all the little bits of info. So if there's, yeah, I hope you have the best day, and that's all I've got for now. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks. Bye.